Welcome to the deep dive. You know, where we dig into your sources and try to make sense of it all. So picture this. Have you ever wished you could just hit rewind? Maybe on a really bad day. Or fix that test you bombed. Or even just, make a perfect summer day last just a little bit longer.
Oh, absolutely. It's like the ultimate fantasy, isn't it?
Totally. And today we're diving deep into Mamoru Hosoda's amazing 2006 animated film, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time Tokyo Kakeru Shujo in Japan. It's all about this high school student, Makoto Kono, who literally stumbles into exactly that ability.
Yeah, she quite literally falls onto the power source.
Right. Now look, on the surface, it feels like your standard sci-fi time travel flick, but what we want to do in this deep dive is show you how Makoto's time leap ability is actually, well, it's this incredible window into some really deep Japanese cultural and philosophical ideas. We're going to unpack how the film uses this power, not really for complex paradoxes and tech stuff, but to explore growing up, fate, connection, the big stuff.
And right from the get-go, the film kind of signals this different approach because it deliberately sidesteps any scientific explanation for how she time travels.
Yeah, there's no techno-babble at all.
None. And that tells you, okay, don't think about this like, say, Back to the Future or something, where they obsess over paradoxes and how the machine works. Instead, this film treats the time leap as something from Japanese folklore, akai.
Akai, like a strange event?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A strange, mysterious, kind of unaccountable occurrence. Makoto gets her power after falling on this weird walnut-shaped thing. It feels much more like finding a magical charm in a folktale than, discovering some future tech. And that framing changes everything about how you interpret the story.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. This idea of akai, this sort of strange happening, how does that fit into, the bigger picture of Japanese folklore? You mentioned yukai earlier.
Yeah, they're definitely related. Kai refers to the strange event itself, the phenomenon. And it's super closely linked to yukai, which is that huge, amazing world of supernatural beings, spirits, monsters, all those things in Japanese tradition. Think kappa or tengu.
Right, the classic folklore creatures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And historically, yukai and kai were ways people personified things they couldn't explain.
Yeah.
Natural disasters, maybe deep anxieties, that kind of thing. But what's really cool and kind of innovative about The Girls Who Leapt Through Time is how it takes that supernatural element and brings it inside.
Inside? How do you mean?
Well, it's not some external monster Makoto has to fight off. The kai, the strange power, is part of her. It's this personal ability she has. It becomes a tool for her to navigate being a teenager, basically. Yeah. It's like the supernatural gets domesticated almost, made personal and relatable.
And you absolutely see that domestication you're talking about in how she first uses the power. I mean, it's so mundane.
Hilariously so, right?
Yeah. Retaking a pop quiz, she failed. Avoiding falling flat on her face in cooking class. Making her karaoke session last longer. Oh, and getting back the pudding her sister ate. It's like the ultimate teenager's cheat code.
It totally is.
Yeah.
And that slice of life focus, using this folkloric idea of kai to deal with totally normal teenage problems, awkwardness, figuring out romance, worrying about the future. That's what makes this fantastic power feel so real and relatable for you, the listener. It turns into this great metaphor for wanting to control the, let's face it, often terrifying parts of growing up.
It uses that cultural language of kai to tell a story about being human, essentially.
Precisely. About stumbling through adolescence.
Okay, so she's leaping around, fixing pudding emergencies. But then the film throws in this detail that really changes the game, the counter. She finds this number, starts at 90, kind of tattooed on her arm, and it ticks down every single time she leaps.
Yeah, and that counter is just crucial. It immediately flips the script. What seems like this amazing infinite gift suddenly becomes this really precious limited resource that's visibly draining away.
Right, you can actually see it dwindling.
And that forces Makoto and us watching to realize, hey, these leaps have a cost. You can't just be wasteful. Her initial uses, like, burning through multiple leaps just to re-sing the same karaoke song.
Which she totally does.
She does. It suddenly looks really foolish, like she's squandering something incredibly valuable. And for you watching, it's this tangible symbol of, well, time running out. It makes you think, how would I use this power if I knew I only had, say, 90 shots?
It adds immediate stakes. And then there's the actual act of leaping. It's not like she just vanishes and reappears smoothly.
Oh, not at all. It's incredibly physical.
Yeah.
And kind of messy.
Yeah, she has to get this running start, throws herself forward, tumbles head over heels through this weird, colorful void, and the landings. She crashes into things, sprawls on the floor. It's really quite clumsy.
And there's that sound too, right? That almost mechanical rattling sound, passion.
Yes, that cock sound. It's so mundane, almost jarringly so.
Well, the director, Mamoru Hosoda, actually talked about this. He uses this visual language he calls ascension and fall, shush to tenraku. Her early leaps, the selfish ones, they're all about ascension.
Like going upwards.
Now think about it. She's often running upstairs to leap away from an awkward moment or launching herself really forcefully into the air. That upward movement visually represents her youthful arrogance, trying to rise above consequences.
Ah, interesting.
But then her final leap, the really important one where she's being selfless to fix things for Chiaki, that's a fall. She runs down a hill before she jumps, and the landing is graceful. It's like the way she leaps actually maps her own growth, from chaotic self-interest to having a clear, more humble purpose.
Wow. Okay. So the clumsiness, the physical effort, that kakun sound, it all serves to ground this amazing power, right? It makes it feel less like playing God and really highlights that she's just a normal girl trying to figure this thing out.
Exactly. It emphasizes her journey, her lack of initial mastery. Now, to really get the richness here, we kind of need to look underneath the plot mechanics, at the cultural and philosophical ideas shaping the story's logic. It's not random. It ties deeply into concepts from both Buddhism and Shinto, Japan's main spiritual traditions.
Okay, so like underlying frameworks.
Precisely. They offer ways of thinking about cause and effect and our own agency that are maybe a bit different from typical Western ideas of pure fate versus total free will.
So let's start with Buddhism. You mentioned karma. How does that idea of cause and effect actually play out with Makoto's leaps? We see her helping herself, but it messes things up for her friends, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
At the core of Japanese Buddhist thinking is ingashush, basically, karma. It's this impersonal law that says every intentional action creates ripples, creates consequences.
Okay, standard cause and effect.
Sort of. But crucially, for Makoto, her choices aren't just about her. They directly impact Chiaki and Kusuke and others around her. And what's important for her story is that while, yes, past actions create effects, her present choices still have immense power. She's not locked into a destiny. What she does now actively shapes what happens next.
Right. And we see that happening, like when she erases Chiaki's love confession to her.
The direct karmic result. He ends up asking out her friend Yuri instead. Or when she aces that pop quiz just so she won't look bad.
Her friend Kusuke gets inspired, studies harder, and ends up turning down a girl who has a crush on him.
Exactly. Her attempts to make her own life smoother inadvertently cause complications and even heartbreak for others. That's Inga-Chishyu in action.
Okay, so that's the Buddhist angle. What about Shinto? You mentioned musubi and nagare.
Right, so Shinto is Japan's indigenous spirituality, and it offers this view of the world centered on connection and flow. A key concept is musubi. Think of it as this invisible, life-giving energy that connects absolutely everything. The spirits or kami, nature, people, even time itself. It's the force that binds existence together.
Like an invisible thread connecting things.
Kind of, yeah. And Shinto suggests that life is lived best when you're in harmony with nagare, the natural, constant flow and change of time and life. Trying to fight that flow, trying to stop change or force things against their natural current, that creates discord.
So resisting the flow is bad.
It leads to imbalance, yeah.
Yeah.
And the film works beautifully right at this intersection. Makoto's moment-to-moment actions, her leaps and their immediate effects, that feels very much like Buddhist karma. But the bigger picture, especially the whole romantic story with Chiaki, seems to go beyond simple cause and effect. It hints at a deeper, maybe fated connection, which resonates more with Shinto's idea of musubi. Her journey is really about moving from trying to control every little karmic outcome to eventually learning to trust in that larger flow, that musubi.
And Makoto definitely resists that nagore, that flow, especially at the start. She's pure teenage angst, right? She just wants the fun summer days with her friends to last forever. She wants to stop time.
Yeah, she explicitly wishes things wouldn't change. She uses her leaps purely for pleasure or to dodge anything uncomfortable. Those lazy afternoons playing catch with Chiaki and Kusuke, she treasures them and tries desperately to keep them exactly as they are.
It's like she's pushing back against that core idea the film keeps repeating. Time waits for no one.
Exactly. She's literally forcing time to wait for her, leaving back again and again. She wants to freeze the good stuff, but by doing that, she's fundamentally fighting against the way life works.
And this whole period of, let's call it frivolous leaping, it really comes crashing down when she starts seeing the real consequences, the karmic blowback. Her aunt, Kazuko the witch aunt, even warns her, doesn't she? Something like, aren't you profiting at someone else's expense?
She does, yeah. It's a subtle but crucial warning. And then the consequences really pile up. Chiaki starts dating Yuri because Makoto dodged his confession. The cooking class incident injures someone completely innocent. And then the big one, the looming bicycle accident.
Right, with Kusuke and the girl who on the bike with faulty brakes she messed with in an earlier leap.
Precisely. It's the direct result of her earlier meddling coming back to haunt them. This pileup of karmic debt hitting its peak with that potential tragedy is what forces Makoto to grow up. And it's actually Chiaki who steps in.
He uses his last leap, right, to save Kusuke.
He does. A completely selfless act. He sacrifices his only way back to the future to prevent the accident Makoto inadvertently caused. And that act is the catalyst. It shakes Makoto to her core. Her own final leap, the one Chiaki restores for her, is then used for a totally selfless reason, to put things right so Chiaki can go back. It marks her shift from being self-absorbed to being responsible, finally learning to work with the flow of time, not against it.
And thinking about that counter again, the number on her arm, it feels like more than just a plot mechanic counting down leaps.
Oh, absolutely. It works brilliantly as a metaphor for youth itself, doesn't it? But when she has loads of leaps left, she acts like her time is endless.
Yeah.
Just like teenagers often feel immortal, you know?
Yeah, like you have all the time in the world.
Exactly. But then the shock and the absolute panic she feels when she realizes she's on her very last leap. That mirrors that dawning awareness that comes with getting older. Oh, wait. Time is finite. My choices do become permanent. For you, the viewer, it's like watching adolescence tick away on her arm, a reminder to use your own time wisely before it runs out.
Beyond all the plot and mechanics, the film just feels a certain way. There's this atmosphere. It's nostalgic, but also kind of sad, gently sad. You mentioned mono no aware.
Yes, mono no aware. It's a really key Japanese aesthetic concept. It translates roughly to the pathos of things, or a sensitivity to ephemera. It's about recognizing the beautiful sorrow in the fact that everything is transient, impermanent, or muju. Especially beautiful things like youth or cherry blossoms.
So it's not depressing, exactly.
No, not despairing. It's more of a deep appreciation for fleeting moments, understanding that their beauty is tied to the fact that they don't last. It's poignant.
And you mentioned it has deep cultural roots.
Oh, yeah. Famously discussed by the 18th century scholar Mamoru Hosoda regarding the tale of Genji, he talked about how that classic novel evokes this feeling, this bittersweet acknowledgement that beauty, love, life itself, it all passes. And Hosoda's film is steeped in it.
You definitely feel it. Those scenes of them just playing baseball in the summer sun, laughing together, the quiet moments. They all have this layer of melancholy, like you know it can't last. And that piano theme, Karana Mono, Unchanging Things, that plays throughout.
It perfectly captures that feeling, right? That longing for a moment that's already becoming a memory, even as you're in it.
What's really interesting, though, is thinking about Makoto's power in relation to this. At first, her time leaping makes her kind of immune to mono no aware.
Exactly, because mono no aware depends on accepting the thing's end. That time flows irreversibly. Her power is the exact opposite of that. If a moment isn't perfect, she just erases it. If the fun's about to stop, she extends it. She removes the finality.
So she removes the sadness, but maybe also the beauty that comes with that sadness.
Precisely. By dodging the impermanence, she misses out on the deep appreciation that comes from knowing something is precious because it's fleeting.
So her whole journey, in a way, is about losing that supernatural shield, learning to actually feel the pathos of things.
Yes. And the ultimate lesson comes with Chiaki's departure. That's the one thing her power can't fix. It's final, irreversible. Her leaps are useless against that loss. And that forces her finally to confront Mujo, impermanence, head on, to truly experience mono no aware. The power that was meant to control time ends up teaching her the real meaning of time. Some moments, some connections were precious precisely because you can't hold on to them forever.
Okay, so finally, let's touch on fate in that ending. Because the emotional core isn't really about time paradoxes. It's about that goodbye between Makoto and Chiaki, their last words to each other. They don't make logical sense, but they feel incredibly powerful. And you suggested this connects to another folkloric idea.
Yes, the Unmei no Akai Ito, the red thread of fate. This is a really prominent idea across East Asia, originally from China, but very common in Japan too.
The red thread, I've heard of that.
Right. It's the belief that two people who are destined to be together are connected by an invisible red string, usually tied around their ankles or little fingers. This string can get stretched, tangled, knotted by life circumstances, distance, even time, but it can never, ever break.
So it's like destiny, but maybe more flexible. It acknowledges messiness.
Exactly. It affirms a fated connection, but allows for all the chaos life throws at you. It's a really common theme. You see it in lots of stories, like the film. Your name uses it very explicitly.
Okay, so how does that apply to Makoto and Chiaki's goodbye? Chiaki says, I'll be waiting in the future. And Makoto, through tears, promises, I'll be right there, I'll run there. I mean, practically speaking, it's impossible. He's from way in the future.
Logically, yeah, it makes no sense as a plan. But if you read it through the lens of the red thread of fate and that Shinto idea of musubi we talked about, that connecting force, their words aren't a plan. They're a profound mutual declaration of faith.
Faith in their connection.
Faith in their connection. Faith in musubi. Faith that the red thread tying them together is stronger than the vastness of time separating them. It transforms the ending from just being tragic and impossible into something deeply hopeful, rooted in that cultural understanding of fate.
And thinking about it, maybe the whole plot, all her leaping, is kind of like the tangling of that thread.
That's a fascinating way to put it. Her biggest interference regarding Chiaki is erasing his love confession that creates the main knot, right? And then all her subsequent leaps trying to fix the fallout just create more tangles, more complications in the string connecting them.
Wow.
So the resolution isn't about her meticulously untying every single knot she made. It's her final, selfless act ensuring Chiaki can return to his time that kind of aligns her back with the thread's direction. Their promise at the end is then their shared belief that, okay, the main tangle is undone. Now we trust the red thread, the musubi, to eventually bring us back together, however long it takes. The time leap power itself becomes the thing that tests and ultimately confirms the strength of their fated bond.
Man, we've covered a lot of ground today with The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. It started looking like sci-fi, but we ended up seeing it as a kai, seeing Makoto's growth through the lens of karma and nagar, feeling that mono-aware and understanding their connection through the red thread of fate. It's so much richer than just time travel.
It really is. And that core message, time waits for no one, it lands differently, doesn't it? It's not just about the clock ticking. It emphasizes that while you can't stop time, you absolutely can choose how you engage with it, with responsibility, with awareness, with purpose, honoring the connections, the musubi, that give life meaning.
So here's something to think about for you listening. If you had Makoto's power, just a limited number of leaps, but knowing everything she learned about consequences, about connection, about how precious irreversible moments are, what would you use them for? How does understanding these deeper cultural ideas maybe change how you look at your own choices and your own fleeting precious time?
Definitely something worth pondering.